if you want to grow your business strategically and also authentically, then the first thing that you have to do is to know what you actually want. And part of the reason for that, a big part of the reason for that, is because people get confused as to what you're actually doing and how to help you. And we can't do everything ourselves. So that clarity internally has to come first, because otherwise people can't refer you. They don't know how to interact with you. They don't know what would be beneficial for you. That has to come from you. I've just got a couple of examples here of like how that might look in practice if you are really clear on who you are and what you're trying to do versus if you're not. Here on the left is an example where I went to an event in September and I connected with a coach who I felt was phenomenal. I was really impressed with everything he was teaching. I really loved what he was all about. I asked him if he had a group program. He said yes. But then I ended up having a call with someone on his team, and that person and I just did not vibe whatsoever. And she was clearly using a script, and it just didn't feel genuine, and there was no follow-on from my previous interaction. And so I ended up not moving forward. But if I had spoken to him directly, or if people had been more aligned, then it might have been a different outcome. So it really changed what my experience was because of that like disconnect. Whereas an example of what can happen when you do have that self-awareness is I was presenting at an annual conference in Philadelphia, and I chose the topic of burnout prevention because that's something that I talk about a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I've made some progress in the area. And it was sort of an unconventional topic in this niche, but I put my own spin on it, and it just felt like the right thing for me to be speaking about. And then the audio technical person saw my presentation. He came up to me and he said, "Hey, I'm a coach too, like we should talk." And he invited me to speak at one of his events because I was showing up in alignment and I was talking very authentically about what I believe and what I do and what matters to me. He picked up on that and we immediately connected over something that was completely like different from why we were there in the first place. Not everyone is meant to be in our life, in our network. And so whenever we start looking at the numbers, like how many connections we have, how many followers we have, how many leads we have, instead of focusing on where am I in alignment, we're just going to get disappointed and we're going to get burned out. So it sounds very simple when I'm saying it, but it's not necessarily easy to do. And so what I think makes the biggest shift with entrepreneurs and whether they actually feel good in their business and they are building a life that they really want is that they're prioritizing resonance in their relationships. Again, whether they're business ones or not. That means things like shared values, mutual respect, and aligned visions. So in that way, you're building relationships that actually matter, and things will naturally progress because you're doing that, because you're putting time and energy and focus on those people. Both people have to benefit from being in any kind of relationship, whether it's a networking, a business relationship, or a more personal one. And so it helps to kind of see it from that perspective, like not necessarily that it's transactional, but that people aren't going to have relationships with you unless they also feel like it's beneficial for them. Whether that's a conscious thought or a subconscious thought, it has to feel good to them. It has to feel aligned for them just as much as it has to feel aligned for you. And so whenever you can flip that narrative around to how could I help someone? How could I give to someone? Just as much as like, oh, what could this person do for me? It really, really makes networking and building a business and building a life so much easier, because in cases where people don't get you and you're just not like everything's just falling flat, rather than just speaking louder or trying to explain yourself over and over again, it just makes a lot more sense to focus on the people who already speak your language, who already are thinking the same things, doing the same things, wanting the same things. So when you have that awareness and that understanding of this is a mutually beneficial exchange, then it does change the way that you enter into new relationships and maintain existing ones too.